What if the secret to wealth wasn't some overnight success or winning the lottery, but a quiet shift in your daily habits? Let's get one thing straight. Life doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards discipline. It rewards philosophy. Above all, it rewards strategy. You don't need a miracle. What you need is a better playbook, a new set of money rules. Because the truth is simple. The rules you follow are the results you get. Most people aren't trapped by their paycheck. They're trapped by patterns, habits they never questioned, beliefs they never updated. They don't suffer from low income, they suffer from small thinking. You can't outturn a broken mindset. You could win the lottery tomorrow and still lose it all unless your thinking changes first. I know this not from theory, but from experience. I went from being broke at 25 to financially free not by magic, but by mastering 7 real-life money rules. These aren't cute quotes you print and forget. These are principles I lived. And if you adopt them fully, not halfway, they can change your life too. Let's be real, money doesn't change you. It reveals you, amplifies your habits, your values, and your priorities. So if you want to build wealth, we've got to get to the root, your mindset. Let's begin by shifting away from spending like the majority and start growing like the minority. Here's the truth. As no one tells you, wealth doesn't begin with the size of your paycheck. It starts with how you treat that paycheck. It's not about how much comes in, but how much you keep and what you do with it. Most people fall into the appearance trap. They chase image. They buy things they can't afford to impress people they barely even know. And in doing so, they strangle their future one flashy purchase at a time. That's not wealth building. It's self-sabotage. The breakthrough happens when you decide to live on less than you earn and make that difference work for you, not against you. When I started turning my life around, the first habit wasn't earning more. It was learning to spend less. That's when I discovered the 70-30th rule. 70% for living, 10% for saving, 10% for investing, 10% for giving. This wasn't just budgeting, it was stewardship. That last 10%, the giving. That's where your character gets tested. If you can give when you don't have much, you're proving you're ready for more. Giving disciplines your ego, reminds you that wealth isn't just about stacking, it's about circulating. The river that gives stays fresh. The pond that hoards becomes stagnant. Now let's talk about savings. That's your cushion. That's your emergency landing pad when life throws you a curveball. Car breaks down, job lets you go, roof starts leaking. Without savings, every problem becomes a crisis. But with it sure, not scared, you're ready, an investment? That's where the magic happens. That's where discipline becomes multiplication. You don't get rich just by saving. You get rich by planting those savings into something that grows. Stocks, real estate, your own business, or even your skills. Each dollar you invest becomes a worker on your financial team, the wealthy. They're not clocking hours their whole lives. Their money is working for them. Most people never get to this level, not because they don't want it, but because they've inflated their lifestyle to match or exceed their income. A raise turns into a new car. A bonus becomes a weekend trip, and wealth. It never gets a chance to take root. But the 3%, they think differently. They keep their lifestyle steady while letting their wealth grow quietly beneath the surface. Consistently, patiently. Here's the secret. Simplicity is the foundation of fortune. Complexity creates chaos, and chaos destroys destinies. Every time you say no to something unnecessary, you're saying yes to your future. Every dollar you invest, instead of indulge, plants the seed for your next harvest. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. So if you can live below your means, save with intention, invest wisely, and give generously. You won't just build a bank account, you'll build a life of freedom, confidence, and quiet power. Now, if that resonates with you, get ready, because in the next part, we're going to go deeper into the habits that keep 97% of people broke, and how you can break free from that cycle starting today. Wealth rarely arrives through one big payday. It starts with wisdom, specifically, the wisdom to never rely on just a single stream of income. Think about it. If there's only one river flowing into your house and it dries up, what happens? You're in survival mode. But imagine 5, 6 rivers flowing in from different directions. One slows down, you're still fine. That's peace of mind. That's power. You see, true financial independence doesn't come from a single paycheck. It comes from having options. Options are born when you build multiple streams of income that consistently feed your financial foundation. When I began, I had one job, just one, and trust me, I was thankful for it. But I also realized something sobering. If that job disappeared, so would my entire lifestyle. All of it gone in a blink. That fear pushed me to ask better questions. What could I create on the side? What skill could I turn into value? Could I build once that would keep paying me over and over again? The first step. I looked at what? I already had my main job. It wasn't just a paycheck, it was seed money. While others were spending their extra cash on weekend splurges and shiny toys, I funneled mine into books, courses, tools, anything that could sharpen me and open new doors. Your paycheck shouldn't just be for bills. Let it fund your evolution, eventually. I created a second stream. For me, it was speaking and teaching. For you, it could be anything: freelancing, consulting, writing, affiliate marketing, or turning a hobby into a business. I've watched people turn their passion for baking into thriving bakeries, and their love for storytelling into book royalties. The goal isn't to copy someone else's path, it's to uncover your own value and multiply it. Then came investments. Real estate, mutual funds, equity in businesses. That's when the game changed for me. That's when I experienced what it felt like to earn money while I slept. Totally different level of wealth, level where your hands rest, but your mind. And money stay productive. There's a moment when you cross that invisible line. From earning with your effort to earning with your ideas. And when you do, you start to outgrow your need for the job itself. It's not about quitting. It's about building something that keeps working even when you're not. It might be a rental property, a course you publish, a dividend stock. What? Business. Something that doesn't need you to clock in, but still sends you a paycheck. Most people never get there. They stay on the hamster wheel running faster and faster, but getting nowhere. Why? Because they never pause long enough to build a system that works without them. Here's the truth. The wealthy don't have more time. They just use time differently. They trade today's effort for tomorrow's freedom. They scatter seeds into different fields. Some bloom, some don't. But when you plant consistently, there's always a harvest somewhere. If you're serious about building wealth, don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Start with what you've got. Slowly, intentionally. Build income streams one by one that loosen your dependence on any single source. That's real financial wisdom. Not just earning, but multiplying. Not just working, but creating. And that's when I discovered something. Even deeper, if you want your wealth to grow exponentially, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. But to sustain and grow those streams, it's not just strategy you need. You need to grow yourself. I still remember the feeling when I opened my very first book on personal finance. It was like a window opening in my mind, and suddenly the light poured in. I realized I didn't have to sit around waiting for opportunity to knock. I could become the kind of person that opportunity looks for. I didn't need better circumstances. I needed to become better. Better thinking, better habits, stronger character. So I got serious, dead serious. I started reading every day, even if just a few pages. Books on money, communication, leadership. I listened to people who had already done what I dreamed of doing. And I began watching successful people with fresh eyes, not just noticing what they had, but how they thought. And you know what I discovered? Success leaves clues, but those clues are often hidden inside small, consistent disciplines most people overlook. I started asking better questions. I spoke with more confidence. I learned how to lead a team, manage my time, control my emotions. Slowly, the world began to respond to me differently. More opportunities started to show up. Better people came into my life. My income started rising, and none of that happened because I changed jobs. It happened because I changed me. Too many people ask for a raise without ever raising their value. They want more without becoming more. But the law of the harvest still holds true. You don't reap what you wish for. You reap what you plant. And when you start planting seeds of personal growth, book by book, class by class, mindset shift. By mindset shift, the results begin to compound in ways you never expected. You might not see the results right away, but keep going. One book today, a course next week, a small mental upgrade each morning. It all adds up. Eventually, you'll outgrow the problems that used to paralyze you. You'll begin to attract the kinds of opportunities you used to chase. And when people start asking, what changed? You'll smile and say, I did. Because once you become the kind of person who can earn more, lead more, and handle more, life stops resisting you. It starts responding to you. Here's a truth I'll never forget. The greatest investment you'll ever make is the one you make in yourself. That's where wealth truly begins, and it's the well it keeps growing from. Meet people all the time who say they want to be wealthy, and I always ask them the same question. What's your plan? And more often than not, I get a blank stare. Some say I hope to make more money. Others say, if I get a raise, or win the lottery, or if my business takes off. Let me tell you something important. Hope is not a financial strategy. A wish without a plan is just a daydream. Daydreams are cheap, but discipline, that's expensive. And it's what builds real wealth. You can't leave your financial future up to chance and expect abundance to just show up. You've got to take the blueprint of your dreams and turn it into real, practical action. It's not enough to say, I want to be rich. The real question is, what am I doing today, this week, this month, this year to make that happen? Responds to clarity, not confusion. It rewards planning, not panic. When I started my journey, I had no plan. I was broke, working hard, but had nothing to show for it. I earned money, spent it just as fast, and convinced myself I was waiting for a breakthrough. But the breakthrough only came when I sat down with a pen, a notepad, and a little humility. I listed out my expenses, looked at what was coming in, what was going out, and I saw the leaks in my financial ship, and I started plugging those holes. One decision at a time. The very first rule I made for myself was simple. Track every dollar. Because if you don't know where your money is going, how can you ever expect to control it? And that question opened the door to a whole new mindset. What do I want my money to do for me? Pay off debt, fund investments, buy freedom from stress. Now let's go deeper, because once you give your money a job, it begins working for you, not against you. You see, money without direction is like water slipping through your fingers, gone before you even realize it. Giving each dollar a task, how much I'd save, how much I'd invest, how much I'd give, that's when things started to shift. Wealth became less of a mystery and more of a strategy. I made it a game not of luck, but of precision. Every month, I set new targets. I tracked my progress like a coach reviews a game plan. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the numbers began to move. But the most important transformation? It wasn't the numbers, it was me. I stopped reacting and started making intentional choices. I learned to say no, not because I couldn't afford something, but because it didn't serve the plan. That was a new kind of power. That was control. You see, without a clear plan, even a massive income can vanish. I've watched it happen over and over again. Athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, they earn millions, but without direction. A few years later, they're back to square one. And yet, I've also seen people with humble, even modest, incomes quietly build financial empires. Why? Because they followed a blueprint. They gave every dollar a purpose. They treated their money like seeds, planting it carefully, tending to it, and giving it time to grow. The market doesn't reward hope, it rewards wisdom. And wisdom says, put your plan on paper, review it every month, adjust it every quarter, live by it every single day. Because the future is coming, whether you're ready or not. The question is, will your life be the product of design or just default? If you're serious about wealth, don't just daydream about it. Plan for it, commit to it. Execute that plan, like your future depends on it. So here's the truth. It does. Let me share one of the greatest secrets I've learned from the wealthy. It's not just that they make more money, it's that they build systems to protect what they earn. They remove themselves from the temptation to do less with more. Because one of the biggest enemies of wealth isn't inflation. It's not taxes, it's not even the economy. It's emotion. It's that quiet voice whispering, just this once. Skip the savings? You've worked hard. You deserve this. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about enjoying life. But when indulgence comes before purpose, when pleasure takes priority over progress, your financial foundation starts to crack. That's why one of the smartest decisions you can make is to build your habits before emotion has a chance to interrupt them. Because if your financial future depends on your moods, your wealth will always be unstable. But if it's supported by structure, your wealth starts to grow on its own. Now, I didn't always live this way. Back in the beginning, I was just like most people. I paid my bills, spent some, and hoped there'd be something left to save. But the truth, there rarely was. I kept promising myself I'd do better next month, and then life would show up. A surprise car repair, a birthday, a can't-miss sale. The plan postponed. Again, until one day, a mentor of mine said something that lit a fire in me. Why don't you reverse it? Pay your future first. Just that one phrase changed everything. From that moment on, I made a new rule. My savings, my investments, my retirement fund, they would get paid before anything else. Before rent, before groceries, before the weekend, before everything in the way I made. Sure, I stuck to it. Automation. I set up automatic transfers that triggered the moment my paycheck hit. A portion went straight to savings, another to investments, another to long-term retirement. I didn't have to think about it anymore. And that was the genius of it. No more inner debates between discipline and desire. No more second-guessing or forgotten goals. That one change automating my future became the foundation for everything that followed. And speaking of foundations, in the next part, we're going to explore how the wealthiest people in the world protect what they build, not with luck, but with discipline and design. Are you ready? So after I automated my savings and investments, something shifted. The constant tug-of-war between should I or shouldn't I started to disappear. The decision was already made, and that changed everything. Once the money moved automatically, I adjusted to what was left in. Here's the surprise. I didn't miss what I didn't see. That's the quiet power of this system. When you automate your wealth-building habits, you're not just saving money, you're saving your discipline. You're shielding your future from the unpredictability of your present emotions. Because, let's be real, we're human. We all have days when our willpower is low, when emotions run high, when spending feels like the easiest way to cope. But when your financial systems are automated, they keep working even when your motivation is on empty. Automation lets your strongest moments build a future your weakest moments can't undo. So, if you're truly serious about building wealth, don't put your trust in motivation, it's fleeting. Trust in systems. Set them up once, and let them carry the weight. Wealth isn't built on occasional effort or random decisions. It's built on consistent, disciplined actions repeated over time. And when you automate those actions, when discipline becomes a background process, wealth becomes the natural result. Now, I've always believed that money follows laws, just like gravity. One of the most powerful, the law of sowing and reaping. It's ancient, it's timeless, and it's inescapable. One of the greatest ways to align with that law, giving. But hear me out. Giving isn't just about tossing money into the air when you feel good. It's not about guilt. It's not about obligation. It's about discipline. It's about teaching your mind that you live in abundance, not in fear. You see, giving isn't just financial. It cultivates wealth in mindset, in spirit, in identity. When you give with intention, you reinforce the belief that there's always more. Where that came from, and that belief, that deep internal knowing, that's what separates those who break free from lack and those who stay chained to it. In my early days, when I had almost nothing, I still made it a point to give. Not to impress anyone, not to prove anything. I did it because I needed to silence the fear in my head, the one that whispered, "You don't have enough." That voice is sneaky. It It shows up during uncertain times. It says, hold on tighter. It says, what if there's a crisis? What if you lose it all? But I knew something. If I listened to that fear, I'd become its servant. So I fought back. Even when I had just $10 to my name, I gave $1 away. Not because I could, but because I had to. That dollar wasn't just charity, it was a statement. It was me telling myself into the universe that I believed in the principle of return. Giving isn't subtraction. Giving is multiplication. Just like a farmer doesn't cry over the seed he plants in the ground. We don't mourn the money we give because we know it's not lost, it's planted. So I gave even when it was hard. And every time I did, something shifted. It wasn't just about generosity. It was about control, about proving that I ruled my money, not the other way around. But let me emphasize something critical. Give wisely. I'm not saying you should. Hand your money to every outstretched palm or every GoFundMe you scroll past. Giving isn't about scattering. It's about sowing. Give with purpose. Give with discernment. Support what you believe in. Invest in people, causes, and ideas that align with your values and long-term vision. That's the kind of giving that creates a ripple cycle of abundance that returns not just in money, but in peace, clarity, and personal growth. I discovered this firsthand. Every time I gave with the right heart, without guilt, without ego, it unlocked something inside me. Suddenly, I was more alert to opportunities. I noticed things others overlooked, felt more inspired, more creative, more grateful. And doors I thought were sealed tight. They began to open quietly and unexpectedly. You know why that happens? Because giving done right clears the spiritual clutter. It removes the noise that often blocks the flow of abundance. Wealth flows to people who are ready to handle it. When you give intentionally, you signal to life, to the universe, even that you can be trusted with more. That money is your tool, not your trap. That you are driven by purpose, not fear. And that mindset changes everything, so don't wait for some magical number in your bank account before you start giving. Don't say, I'll give when I have enough. Start now. Start small. Just start. Because the habit of giving doesn't begin after you get rich. It's what makes you rich. Now, speaking of habits that shape your financial destiny, let me share one of the most pivotal lessons I've learned on my journey. You can't manage what you don't measure. Think of it this way. Trying to build wealth without tracking your money is like sailing a ship without a compass. You might be moving, but you have no idea where you're headed, or worse, how far you've drifted off course. I used to think that making more money was enough. I believed that as long as the paychecks kept coming, I'd be fine. But I was wrong, because wealth doesn't just come from earning. It comes from directing. If you don't know where your money is going, trust me, it's slipping away quietly, gradually, like water through a crack you never noticed. That's why I made it a rule. Track every dollar, not once a month. When I have time, but consistently, diligently, I started noting every cent I earned, every dollar I spent. At first it felt tedious, a chore, but then it revealed the truth. I saw forgotten subscriptions draining my account, impulse buys stacking up, fees I never noticed before. Those leaks steamy on their own were sinking my financial ship. Tracking taught me discipline. It rewired my brain to be intentional. It turned vague goals into real action. Because when you see exactly where your money is going, you start asking smarter questions. Like, does this expense move me forward, or is it holding me back? It doesn't stop at spending. Tracking your debts helps you make a real plan. To pay them down? Tracking your investments helps you monitor what's growing, what's lagging, and where to adjust. When you make financial reviews a monthly habit, you create a roadmap, a system, a rhythm. It's not just about numbers, it's about control. Because let's face it, money flows where attention goes. So once you begin tracking every dollar, once you start paying close attention, something powerful happens. Money starts respecting you back. And from there, another critical mindset shift begins to take shape. When you give your money the attention it truly deserves, you begin building a relationship with it. Not just a transactional one, but a relationship built on respect, clarity, and purpose. And when that relationship deepens, guess what? Your money starts growing not magically, but intentionally. It's like creating a feedback loop where awareness fuels action, and action fuels results. You become more focused, more deliberate. You stop letting money happen to you and you start happening to your money. That's why I always encourage people to start today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when you get a raise. Start now. Find a method that works best for your lifestyle, whether it's an old school notebook, a spreadsheet, or one of those financial apps on your phone. And then make a habit of reviewing your numbers monthly. But most importantly, be honest with yourself. Because honesty is the foundation of all wealth. Without that clarity, everything else, your plans, your goals, your discipline rests on shaky ground. And here's the truth. The real difference between someone who's wealthy and someone who's always struggling, it's not just income. It's discipline. It's the commitment to tracking every dollar with precision and purpose. That's how fortunes are not only made, but kept. And while we're talking about discipline, let's shift to the most misunderstood resource in wealth building. Time is the one asset that's distributed equally to every person on earth, rich or poor, old or young. We all get 24 hours a day, but how we use it, that's what sets us apart. People often treat wealth like a race. They think, how fast can I get rich? But wealth, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about getting to the finish line first. It's about showing up every single day, using time like an elenot, an enemy. Let me tell you something that changed my life. Every day you wait is a day you can't get back. It's not just time lost its compound interest you'll never see again. The earlier you start, even with tiny steps, it's the more powerful your results become over time. I remember when I first understood this, it hit me like a lightning bolt. I stopped waiting for the perfect time or the perfect amount. I realized that starting imperfectly today beats waiting perfectly forever. Wealth doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from tiny, consistent actions stacked on top of each other. Take reading, for instance. Reading just one chapter a day might seem insignificant, but over a year, that's hundreds of pages, hundreds of ideas, hundreds of new mental tools. That knowledge compounds just like money does. It shapes your mindset. It expands your awareness, creates options. Or think about saving just $5 a day. Yes, $5. That might sound like pocket change, but the real power isn't in the amount, it's in the habit. The repetition, the control. It's that daily choice that rewires your brain, that teaches patience, that says I'm building something one brick at a time. I remember building my first business. It didn't start with a viral product or a huge following. It started with one phone call, one email, one small intentional action every day. And slowly, the momentum built. That's the magic of consistency. It turns time from something that works against you into your most powerful ally. You see, the wealthy, they view time differently. They don't treat it like a ticking clock. They treat it like a multiplying force. They don't rush to beat the clock, they build systems that work with it. This shift in mindset from scarcity to compound. Value is what separates those who struggle from those who succeed. So don't fall into the trap of thinking you need a head start or a ton of time or perfect conditions. What you really need is to begin. Because the sooner you start, the more time you give your habits, your savings, your investments, the more time you give yourself to grow. Remember, time rewards the consistent, the disciplined, and the patient, but it punishes the procrastinator, the doubter, and the dreamer who never acts. Turn your minutes into milestones. Turn your hours into assets. Start today. Start small. And let time do what it does best. Multiply. So once you understand the power of time and begin using it with intention, the next natural step is to aim it towards something meaningful. Because without direction, even the best habits can lose momentum. Setting a clear, focused goal is like lighting a match in the dark, instantly reveals the path ahead. Without that spark, your energy spreads in every direction, scattered and ineffective. But when you point your focus toward one specific target, everything changes. Suddenly your time, your habits, your money, they all start aligning with purpose. That's why one of the most transformative tools you can use to accelerate your financial journey is a 90-day money goal. It creates urgency. It creates clarity. Most importantly, it gives you a scoreboard so you can measure your progress in real time, not just in hindsight. When I first began building my financial foundation, I quickly discovered that hope isn't a strategy. Vague. Desires like I want to save more or I'd like to make extra money won't take you far. But a specific goal, something like I want to save $1,000 in the next 90 days, or I want to pay off my credit card by the end of the quarter, that sharpens your focus like a camera lens snapping into clarity. It's like setting your sights on a mountain peak in the distance. Once the goal is clear, every step you take, every decision you make, begins to align with that destination. And here's where the real power kicks in, breaking that 90-day goal into smaller, actionable pieces. Think monthly milestones, weekly tasks, even daily habits. Let's say you want to save $1,000 in 90 days. That's about $333 per month, or roughly $83 per week. When you see those smaller chunks, the big mountain no longer looks so intimidating. It feels doable. It feels real, but goals alone aren't enough. You've got to see your progress. That's why visual tracking is a game changer. Whether it's a journal, a spreadsheet, a wall calendar, or an app on your phone, make your progress visible, because every time you check off a task or log a dollar saved, your brain gets a reward. A tiny psychological yes that fuels your discipline. You begin to shift your mindset from chasing perfection to celebrating progress. And that shift, that's where transformation happens. I remember the first time I set a 90-day goal that felt out of reach. At first, it seemed too ambitious, but I broke it down. I made one extra sales call a day. I skipped a few unnecessary expenses. I automated a small amount to savings each week. Slowly, the numbers started moving. One win led to another. Before I knew it, it not only hit the goal, I beat it ahead of schedule. But it wasn't just about the money. It was about proving to myself that consistent, focused effort works. It built a new kind of confidence. Now here's a key piece most people miss. Weekly reviews. Life throws curveballs. You'll fall behind. You'll get off track. But when you review weekly, you're able to realign, to adjust, to recommit. Think of it like checking your compass on a long hike. You might be a few steps off trail, but a quick correction keeps you from getting lost altogether. Because real wealth doesn't come from random windfalls or overnight luck. It's built through steady, intentional progress, one clear step at a time. A 90-day goal gives you urgency, but not pressure. Direction, but not overwhelm. It trains your mind to value momentum more than motivation. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's about doing something consistently. If you truly want to take control of your financial future, don't just dream about it, design it. Start by setting one clear, measurable 90-day goal. Break it down, track it, review it weekly. Most importantly, celebrate the little wins, because they add up. It's faster than you think. Success doesn't arrive all at once. It shows up in moments. You create through clarity, consistency, courage. So as we begin wrapping up this conversation, let this truth settle in. Wealth isn't a mystery. It's not magic. It's the outcome of deliberate habits, repeated with purpose over time. So here we are at the end of this journey. But perhaps just the beginning of yours. If there's one truth I hope sticks with you, it's this. Wealth isn't built by chance, it's built by choice. It's not by winning the lottery. It's not by stumbling into a miracle, but by the small, disciplined decisions you make each day. Even when no one's watching, you now have the tools. A clear mindset, proven strategy, habits that compound. The understanding that money is not your master, it's your servant. But remember, knowledge means nothing without action. So don't just close this video and forget what you've heard. Open your notebook, review your numbers, set that 90-day goal, and start right now with one intentional step. Even a small one, because the life you want, the freedom you dream of, it's not waiting in some distant future. It's hidden inside the choices you make today. Stay consistent, stay humble, stay hungry. And one day you'll look back and realize you didn't just build wealth. You became the kind of person wealth was looking for all along. If this video sparked something in you, a shift in mindset, it's a new goal, or even just a question, don't let it fade. Hit that like button to let the algorithm know this message matters. Subscribe if you're serious about building not just income, but impact. And drop a comment below. What's your 90-day goal? Let's make this a space where ambition is shared and progress is celebrated. If you're ready for the next step, check out the next video where we go deeper into the habits of self-made millionaires, how you can model them in your daily life. This is your time. Make it count. Let's grow together.